Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new session. So, we are back with more sessions in this new week. So, I hope all of you are doing just great and preparing really well for your upcoming exams. So, tonight we are here to revise for our upcoming NTA NET exam. The exam is around the corner, right? So, it's high time we prepare really well and get that JRF, right? Okay, great. So, if you are new to our channel, then please do subscribe. And if you're watching this video right now, then please do like this video. Okay? Please like it. All right. All right. So, let me start by sharing my screen. Yes, the screen is visible to you all. Yeah. And let me quickly open your chat so that I can see what you all are saying. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, ayyo. So, welcome to session number 26 of our Vallath NET revision. All right, are you all ready? Yes. Good evening, and welcome. So, let's move on to the first question for tonight. Okay. So, here we go. The 1856 essay, Silly Novels by Lady Novelists by Dash, critiques a popular Victorian genre of female authored fiction, characterized by unrealistic sentimental plots, perfect heroines, and formulaic romances. Arguing these novels lack real world observation, true intellect, and moral depth, instead offering fatuous escapism and hindering serious female writers by promoting shallow ideals. All right, tell me, who wrote this essay, Silly Novels by Lady Novelists? Who wrote this essay, Silly Novels by Lady Novelists? Tell me. Correct. This essay, Silly Novels by Lady Novelists, was written by none other than the Victorian novelist George Eliot. George Eliot wrote this essay, yes, Silly Novels by Lady Novelists, which critiques a popular Victorian genre of female authored fiction. Okay, correct. Next. The sense of an ending. Studies in the theory of fiction is the most famous work of Dash. It was first published in 1967 by Oxford University Press. So, who wrote this work? The Sense of an Ending, Studies in the Theory of Fiction. It was published in 1967. Tell me who wrote it. The Sense of an Ending. Correct. It's by Frank Kermode. The Sense of an Ending, Studies in the Theory of Fiction. It's a work by Frank Kermode, published in 1967. 1957. Okay. Right. Next question. Hamlet and His Problems is an essay by Dash, published in 1919, that offers a critical reading of Hamlet. Who wrote the essay Hamlet and His Problems, published in 1919? This essay is very popular because it talked about the concept of objective correlative. It talks about the concept of objective correlative. Who wrote Hamlet and his problems? Yes, it talks about objective correlative. Hamlet and his problems is by T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot. Who wrote Hamlet in his Purgatory? Hamlet and his Purgatory. Hamlet in Purgatory. Who wrote Hamlet in Purgatory? Tell me, who wrote Hamlet in Purgatory? Yes, Hamlet and his problems is by T.S. Eliot. It talked about the concept of objective correlative, and T.S. Eliot said that Hamlet is an artistic failure. But who wrote Hamlet in Purgatory? Hamlet in Purgatory is by Stephen Greenblatt. Stephen Greenblatt. Who wrote Hamlet and Oedipus? Hamlet and Oedipus is a critical work by Hamlet and Oedipus is a critical work by Hamlet and Oedipus is a critical work by Ernest Jones. Hamlet and Oedipus is a critical work by Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones. So Hamlet and his problems is by T.S. Eliot. Hamlet in Purgatory is by Stephen Greenblatt. Hamlet and Oedipus is by Ernest Jones. Okay, got it? Right. Next. Next question for you. Henry James says The Art of Fiction is a foundational essay arguing the novel is a serious fine art, not just entertainment, advocating for realism, artistic freedom, and the writer's moral responsibility to represent life truthfully, emphasizing experience, observation, and psychological depth over rigid rules or sentimentality as a rebuttal to simplistic views on fiction. Is this true about Henry James's The Art of Fiction, published in 1884? Tell me, is this true about Henry James's The Art of Fiction? Is this true or not? It's a very important work of criticism, right? Henry James's The Art of Fiction. It is absolutely true. Henry James's The Art of Fiction. It's a foundational essay which argues that the novel is a serious fine art, not just entertainment, and it advocates for realism, artistic freedom, and the writer's moral a responsibility to represent life truthfully. Got it? Very good. Very good. So Henry James's The Art of Fiction, published in 1884. Okay? Right? Correct. Next. So before we proceed, let me give you all a reminder that we are starting our new NET online batch from this January. So if you want to join, you can join us. Okay? We are starting our new NET online batch from this next month. Right? Okay. Have you all liked the session? Yes? Have you all liked the session? Okay. Chalo. Let's move on to the next question. Say, in his work, Science and Poetry, Dash argues that while science deals with verifiable statements of fact, poetry uses pseudo statements to organize feelings and attitudes, creating a psychological equilibrium through a new poise of impulses. Who said this in the work Science and Poetry? It's a very popular work of criticism. Tell me. Who wrote Science and Poetry and who said this? In his work Science and Poetry, yes, he is the father of practical criticism. He is the father of practical criticism. He wrote works like Principles of Literary Criticism, right? Yes, it is obviously I.A. Richards. I.A. Richards. I.A. Richards. Got it? Very good. Next. Next question. The Great Tradition by F.R. Lewis was published in which year? The Great Tradition by F.R. Lewis was published in which year? As you all know, I.A. Richards, F.R. Lewis, T.S. Eliot, Frank Kermode, all of them are very, very important critiques. Questions from them will obviously come, maybe in different ways, in the form of match the following or statement-based questions, okay, or maybe fill in the blank, right? But questions from these authors will come, from these critiques, questions will be there. So please make sure that you know these authors, that you know these theorists, these critiques, all their major works, the chronology of these works, okay, the concepts they talked about. All right? Yes. Yes, correct. The Great Tradition by F.R. Lewis was published in 1948. The Great Tradition by F.R. Lewis was published in 1948. Okay, right. Next. Percy Lubbock's The Living Principle, English as a discipline of thought, defends literary studies as a rigorous intellectual training, not just emotional response, arguing that great literature develops critical thinking, cultural awareness, and a vital living principle connecting past and present. Is it true or false? Percy Lubbock's The Living Principle. Tell me. Say? Okay, all of you are saying true. It is false. The Living Principle is not by Percy Lubbock. Who wrote The Living Principle? Percy Lubbock wrote The Craft of Fiction. Percy Lubbock wrote The Craft of Fiction. Who wrote The Living Principle? It is by F.R. Lewis. It is by F.R. Lewis. Okay? Yes? Now you guys won't forget, right? Percy Lubbock wrote The Craft of Fiction. But this work, The Living Principle, is by F.R. Lewis. F.R. Lewis. So it's false. Okay? So F.R. Lewis says The Living Principle, English as a discipline of thought. It defends literary studies as a rigorous intellectual training. All right? Correct. The Living Principle, it's a work by F.R. Lewis. F.R. Lewis. Percy Lubbock wrote The Craft of Fiction. Percy Lubbock wrote The Craft of Fiction. Okay? Very good. Next. The Structure of Complex Words by Dash argues that complex words in poetry carry multiple layered meanings through historical shifts and literary contexts, creating rich, often paradoxical effects, which he analyzes using a personal notation system on keywords like fool, honest, and sense, demonstrating how these words, semantic webs, create meaning beyond simple definitions. Who wrote this work, The Structure of Complex Words? Again, it's a major work of literary criticism. The Structure of Complex Words. Who wrote this work of literary criticism? It is by, obviously, William Empson. William Empson wrote The Structure of Complex Words. The same author who wrote Seven Types of Ambiguity, published in 1930. Okay, and in this work, The Structure of Complex Words by Emerson, he argues that complex words in poetry carry multiple layered meanings through historical shifts in literary contexts, creating rich, often paradoxical effects. Okay, right. Okay. The Structure of Complex Words. It's by William Emerson. Okay. Next, The Hidden God. Studies in Hemingway, Faulkner, Yeats, Eliot, and Warren is a collection of essays by, again, a major work of criticism. Because NT-NET will shoot at you lots of questions from theory and criticism. The Hidden God. Studies in Hemingway, Faulkner, Yeats, Eliot, and Warren. It's a collection of essays by whom? Who wrote it? The Hidden God. It's a collection of essays by Cleanth Brooks. Cleanth Brooks was one of the major new critiques. Cleanth Brooks was one of the major new critiques who wrote the work The Well-Wrought Urn, published in 1947. 1947. Okay? Cleanth Brooks wrote The Hidden God. The Hidden God. All right? The Hidden God is by Cleanth Brooks. All right? Yes. Partial Portraits is a book of literary criticism by Dash, published in 1888. This book collected essays that James had written over the preceding decade, mostly in English and American writers, but also on the works of Alphonse Daudet, Guy de Maupassant, and even Turgenev. Oops, I have revealed the author. But okay. Partial Portraits is a work of criticism by Henry James. Partial Portraits is a work of criticism by Henry James. Who wrote the book Studies on the uh, Renaissance? Studies on the History of the Renaissance. Studies on the History of the Renaissance. Who wrote that work? Studies on the History of the Renaissance. That is by Walter Pater. That was by Walter Pater. He was associated with the movement of aestheticism. Aestheticism. Walter Pater. Right? Yes. Okay. Next question. Tell me. T.S. Eliot's Notes Towards the Definition of Culture, published in Dash, argues culture is an organic shared system of beliefs and values transmitted mainly by family, crucial for civilization's depth. Not just art entertainment, requiring a class structure for vitality and distinguishing true culture from mere civilization or entertainment. Critiquing modern fragmentation and emphasizing religion, art, and classes' roles in fostering a meaningful life. This work also immensely inspired Raymond Williams. T.S. Eliot's Notes Towards the Definition of Culture. This work was published in which year? A work which inspired Raymond Williams and a work which laid the foundations for cultural studies. So tell me, who wrote this? When was it published? Notes Towards the Definition of Culture by T.S. Eliot was published in 1948. Notes Towards the Definition of Culture by T.S. Eliot was published in 1948. This work had inspired Raymond Williams. Raymond Williams. Okay, got it? Right. Chalo. Next. In Praise of Folly, also translated as The Praise of Folly, is an oration written in Latin in 1509 by Desiderius Erasmus and first printed in June 1511. Is it true or false? The Praise of Folly by Desiderius Erasmus. Is it true or false? The Praise of Folly by Desiderius Erasmus. It is absolutely true. The Praise of Folly. It's an oration written in Latin in 1509 by Desiderius Erasmus, and it was first printed in 1511. 1511. Okay, so it's true. Okay, next. Fearful Symmetry, a study of William Blake, is a 1947 book by Dash, whose subject is the work of English poet and visual artist William Blake. Who wrote this work? Fearful Symmetry, a study of William Blake. Who wrote this critical work? Fearful Symmetry, a study of William Blake. He belonged to myth criticism. He belonged to myth criticism. Fearful Symmetry, a study of William Blake. It's a work by Northrop Frye. Northrop Frye. Northrop Frye belonged to myth criticism. Myth criticism. And his another major work is Anatomy of Criticism, published in 1957. Anatomy of Criticism, published in 1957. And here we talked about Fearful Symmetry, a study of Blake by Northrop Frye. Okay, got it? Right. Next, Some Versions of Pastoral by Dash is an influential 1935 work of literary criticism, arguing pastoral is not just shepherds, but any work about the people, but not by or for them. Finding complexity within simplicity, like proletarian novels, Shakespeare's Double Plot, or Alice in Wonderland. Exploring a tension between ideal simple life and complex reality, often with political undertones. Here, the key aspects include redefining pastoral beyond rural scenes to include covert expressions in modern works, analyzing how simple figures embody complex human feelings, and uncovering hidden values and ironies in literature. So, it's a major work on the genre of the pastoral, in literature. Who wrote this work? Some Versions of Pastoral, published in 1935. It is by William Empson. William Empson wrote Some Versions of Pastoral, published in 1935. Okay, so that's all for tonight from our side. I hope you guys loved the session tonight and you enjoyed answering these questions of criticism. Since criticism forms a very important section of NTA NET, so I thought I should bring these questions to you because these theorists and critics can be important for the upcoming NET exam. So yeah, that's all for tonight then. And I will see you all again tomorrow exactly at 9 p.m. at our Vallath YouTube channel. Till then, please take care, keep studying, and good night. And do like the session. Okay, so bye. Take care. Good night. See you all again tomorrow. Okay.